Karen, thank you so much for being here today. When I think of people that are left brain, right brain strong, you immediately come to mind. So I really appreciate your time today. Let's start with your business. Tell us more about Improv Edge.
So, Improv is a company that has combined the neuroscience and human behavior research side with the use of improvisation and theater techniques to
Mm-hmm.
create an incredibly unique offering that creates both coaching and workshop training for executives and teams worldwide. And the exciting thing is that we are the first people in the world. I was the first person in the world to combine real research that we did with the Wharton Business School, the University of Massachusetts, with the Ohio State University, with Otterbein, with theater techniques. And we actually just rounded the corner on over 1 million people served worldwide. So,
That is so awesome. That is so
yeah, yeah.
awesome. And I was one, I have taken one of your programs, and I thought it was absolutely amazing
Thank
because
you.
I think when people think about having to do presentations or things like that, they immediately get nervous. And when you think about it more as improv, a lot of that just goes away. And that's really the unique part. Well, at least, I feel one of the unique parts. You have all this tech, which is great, or all this knowledge, data, that's great. But for me, it was like, it made it so much easier for me to do a presentation.
So I love hearing how people take that in, right? That how it translated for them. That's really exciting. Yeah, because here's the thing: we take the practicality of real techniques, and we actually have people practice them and work on them,
Hmm.
so that whether we work with you for an hour or more likely we work with companies for 6 months, for years at a time, it's a matter of every single time you have something you can use right away that you've already practiced, just like an actor rehearses and tries stuff. You fall down, it doesn't go so well the first time, you try it again, you get better. And it's sort of like we say, Catherine, the stuff that makes people the most nervous, like the toughest interactions at work, are where we really shine. So, negotiations, managing tough conversations, dealing with team interactions and collaboration,
Hmm.
presentations, like you said. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's so simple because the basic, we just distill it down. It's that whole yes and principle because
yeah.
I think what a lot of nervousness comes from for any of that is like, well, oh my God, what could possibly happen? What if I fall? What if I forget everything? What if I? But when that happens, you're just like, all right, yes and.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
Just
going to happen. That's the thing. I'm like, stop thinking it's going to be perfect because something will happen. So just let it happen and then you deal with it.
exactly. You just
Yeah.
keep rolling. Something it's and if people are familiar with improv, that's usually the case where there are people on the audience, and you can definitely speak to this because you were that stage person, and people would be standing out there just maybe yell something out, and you would have to
Yeah.
react to it. So
Yeah.
if people understand, have people have seen that, they understand kind of how this kind of works in a way, and it's really really awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. You've got to
And
come
you
back sometime again. We'll work together again.
and you are also a multi-book writer too, so people can also see a lot of what you're teaching as well in some of your books. And can you just give us the titles of those really quick?
Sure, absolutely. So I'm so honored to be an Amazon #1 bestselling author of 3 different books. So The Improvisation Edge was the first one. I got to know my publisher Barrett Kohler, and that is about the principles of improv that we used in our initial research. And it has great case studies in it. It's really fun. Be the Best Bad Presenter Ever is the second one, and it was the most commercial success, Catherine. So it's in
Nice.
languages,
That
yeah,
is
all
awesome.
over. Yeah, and it's just about, being your authentic self. It's actually much better than being this plastic perfect presenter or person in a meeting. And then the last one is Go With It, and it's all about change and how to manage change, and features quite a few women-owned businesses that I admire and know. So, yeah,
All incredible stuff and highly recommended.
thank you.
um Now let's talk about you when you were a child, because you did not just walk on the stage and decide to do improv. You did not decide, hey, I'm going to be CEO of this amazing company. So when
No.
you were young and you hopped out of bed, feet hit the ground, had no responsibility, what did you love doing?
Wasn't that like the best time ever? It was the best time ever. So my mother swears that I popped out singing and dancing.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, I sang and danced for any audience I could find anywhere. I was actually professional. I got paid by the time I was 14
oh,
to
so
act and
cool.
sing and dance. Yeah, so I mean, I started at 5, and that was I I never felt like I was never working because I was always dancing or singing or doing a show after school. I'd say the only other thing that really made me the person I am is my grandparents actually bought a little tiny cabin on a lake, and we would be out there all the time. So I was sort of spending every weekend of my summers in a bathing suit. You never even got in, you never even came out of it. And in the lake, water skiing, um, finding crawdads, just muddy, dirty, happy. It was fantastic.
That I mean, I did not know this about you, but none of it is a surprise because you were clearly born to be on stage for one,
Yeah.
and also having a bit of this wild, adventurous side to you, where you're just like, I'm just going to go out and just have like a really adventurous day, and that
Yeah.
I definitely know is you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's really really cool, and I love how you've incorporated that to basically make a great career for yourself. So that's
Which I
so
did
awesome.
not see coming, by the way, which was improvised at every turn, which no one would have suspected. But
Exactly, exactly. Um, so being a very important, influential CEO is
oh,
your day job, but then when you uh need to shut it off, what do you do to relax? How do you unplug?
oh, I don't. I unplug as much as I can all the time that I can.
I love to hear
Yeah,
that.
I leave my phone behind whenever I can forget it carefully. So that was a really interesting question. I so for example, in the mornings now, what's weird is that my kids are big now. So if we think about, when you and I both were building our companies, our kids were
They
little,
were
and
little.
it was
Yeah.
just so intense all the time. There was so little time for yourself.
Hmm.
Unplugging often had to be scheduled outside the home. So now I find it incredible to be able to. I think that creativity comes to me when I'm doing something unpluggable. So I now indulge in long walks with the dog with my spouse every morning with my
Nice.
husband. I have time when I don't have enough creative stuff to do. I bake too much. I redecorate. Like it starts to come out of my pores. So then we're like, we got to find another project for Karen at work. Yoga, hiking, like I love it all. I love it all. And I feel like it actually lends itself to my work because I think of great ideas. I I relax and my brain goes places that it would not normally. Or I'm spending time with people that I don't get to see very often. If I'm having fun with friends, that's for me another way to unplug because I forget to check my phone. We're
Hmm.
together, we're walking, or we're having dinner, we're seeing a show. That's fantastic.
I love that. And I
Yeah.
also, again, I can definitely draw like a straight line between the adventures at the cabin to everything that you just described. So you're definitely saying very true to yourself. The one
Yeah.
thing we've had discussions over too is the importance of, and this is kind of an added on because I don't have this as a question, but I know this about you, so I'm going to add it, is that when we've had some discussions about how play is also really important in business and allowing your team to have that space to basically use the right side of their brain to bring more creativity and innovation to the group. So can you speak to that a little bit?
Absolutely. So play as a concept has been something I've looked at and researched for a long time. As a matter of fact, if you haven't read Dr. Stuart Brown's work called Play, I highly recommend you do because I used a lot of his research in my books. And the the fact of the matter is that play, which is also very improvisational, play
Hmm.
when we mess around, whether it's sports or playing board games or just being goofy with people, is where you create connections and understanding of things and where you come up with how you interact in the world. And he's actually even been able to track it to species that are very low on the chain of being terribly complicated, like down to bugs almost. And he found in animals and in people that if we don't play, we actually don't survive. We don't survive. We don't evolve. Play allows us to solve problems. The ultimate example is the engineer who cannot solve a problem. When you're at work and you can't solve a problem and you're
Yep.
putting all your energy to it and you can't solve it because you're too focused on it.
Yes.
Well, this engineer goes on vacation. She's building sandcastles with her kids, and guess what she solves?
Yep.
The problem because play allows your brain to go to different places and relaxes your body in a way that activates the brain. So play is critical for so many reasons, not only for our evolution and our social standing, but it also allows us to be better humans and more innovative, interesting social humans, which is critical for our survival.
And just to simplify that for people, I mean, even more so, just so they have an understanding in the simplest way of how this works. Like if you are stressed out or something, you want to take a walk, or and then suddenly just that change of environment, being out in nature, smells are different. That's engaging the right side of your brain, and that's giving you that break. And again, that's going to help in the long run. And the other example I like to use is when people sometimes will take their best ideas come when they take a shower because they have
It's
removed.
the second most. It's the second most creative place on earth is the shower.
Oh,
So
that's
they actually
interesting.
they did this research. Yeah, number one, the one where most people come up with the most creative ideas is vacation.
See, that says right there why you need to unplug. But because you
Exactly.
are engaging again more of that right side, giving that
Yes.
left side a rest. But in the shower, you have the sensation of the water and the soap and the smell and the
Right.
quiet
And
in a way, just that
relaxation.
sound. Yeah, game changer. So if you've ever had a great idea in the shower in the
Well,
middle
I
of the
mean,
night,
we're
sometimes too, or
actually,
on a walk, you
yeah.
know,
God, was it the shower? So I have been reading and reading. We're about 3 years in now on a completely new tool at work that we've developed now with several research because I got this
yes.
idea. I remember like leaping up, going, "Oh my gosh!" Getting this idea. Yeah,
And that's a perfect example of that.
yeah,
So yeah, so everybody please, and just do the best thing you can for yourself and unplug, take the vacation, take the walk, go to a
yeah.
nice dinner, take multi showers. Get yourself a
Why
milk
not take
frother
a
for the
long bath?
morning. I
It's even
mean,
better.
whatever mini vacation you can plug into your life, it's going to make just the most amazing difference in
Yeah,
your business. So
yeah.
I really appreciate your scientific insight and your data that you're
You're
bringing to the
well,
table.
it's the weird part that people don't know. I'm kind of a data head. I'm very, very interested in research. I'm fascinated in human behavior. Why do we do what we do? And I
Yeah.
think that's what's driven our success as a company and also our ability to work with so many different organizations. I mean, I was in tech for a long time, so I do have a corporate side. And it's just an understanding of what business people go through, no matter what the industry. There's a lot that we go through as business people that we have to understand. Why do things happen this way? Why do people behave this way?
I'm going to ask you too, because we still have a little bit of time. What was it like the first time you did step on the stage doing improv?
Oh, wow. Yeah. So I had only ever done scripted work as a kid. And it was at Yale that I first encountered improv. And a friend of mine, they were launching the Purple Crayon, which was the first Ivy League improv troupe. Oh, I'm so
Oh,
showing
cool.
my age here. We helped.
What we'll say you're a pioneer, if to
There
make you
we
feel
go.
even older,
And
you know?
so yeah, the very first troupe at Yale, I helped to get it going. And we helped to get the entire Ivy League improv consortium going. And now what's cool is that every theater, every university in America at least has an improv troupe, if not multiple.
Yes, I did not
Um,
know that.
and it was incredible. I don't even think I was scared at all. I was just so excited because we were about to create something out of thin air. Now, remember, improvisers are the most over rehearsed people in the performance industry. And so we were ready because we had rehearsed so much for anything that could happen. And that's also something that's missing in the work that we do with our clients is that people don't realize that even one rehearsal, one practice, one run through will make you better the next time. So often people are nervous because they're standing up in front of this critical moment with no true rehearsal under their belt, where you stand up, you say it out loud, you walk through it, or they've got to have a tough one on one and they haven't talked it through. So, rehearsal is what gets you ready to handle anything that comes. And
I think. Oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, it was fantastic. It was exciting, and it was a good show that night. You don't always have a good show, and I was the most junior person, so I kind of let everybody else lead, but I had a good time.
That's really, really cool. That's really, really cool. And if anything, just in the little between parts of that, I can totally see how you would then become an entrepreneur because like you said, inventing things out of nothing is kind of what being an entrepreneur is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and I had gone into tech, so I had this really great career as an actor, right? You know this, Catherine.
Mhm.
And I then I got an opportunity to go into a tech startup. I was employee 20, and that company eventually went public. So that was really incredibly exciting. And I said yes with no experience whatsoever. I don't even know why they hired me, but they did. They let me run the sales team. You know, I was taking classes every night, so I didn't look like an idiot in network engineering. And I realized I loved everything about business. So it was a matter of going, I'm really good at this, better than I should be, because I
Mhm.
have these skills. Now, can I find somebody to help me prove that this is more than anecdotal? And that's really where it started. Um, and it's just continued to this day. Like the tool I told you about, I stumbled upon the idea of hybridity competence, and now
Mhm.
we have trademarked and created a new assessment tool around the 5 factors that create hybridity competence, which is basically the ability to improvise as a team and leads to success in this new world of work that we're in now. So it always drives me. Something's always interesting me.
Yeah, and I think that's great. And I think that's a great message for everyone too, is to always just kind of chase those things that interest you because it's going to lead to something because
Yeah,
your passion always drives you somewhere. And sometimes
right.
we don't get the opportunity to listen to that because we feel like we're kind of stuck in a career or whatever, but always, always, always make room for it because that's where the movement happens. Now, just quickly, I would love for you to tell people what your company offers. If, like, say, I'm contacting you, I would like some help. Who is your ideal client and what sort of things can you offer?
Sure. So, we do tend to work with very large organizations,
Hmm.
as well as we have a lot of government clients. We also work with small regional firms right here in Columbus, Ohio. So I don't think the
Hmm.
size of the organization matters. They have to really care about their people and want
Hmm.
them to develop and grow. That's what matters. So we provide executive coaching and team development and high potential development across the range in everything that really matters for a company to be incredibly successful. That's high potential work, that is team effectiveness, that is negotiation, that's managing tough conversations, that's being a great leader, being a good manager, sustainability, knowledge transfer, presence. Presentation skills, again, it's all about how these behaviors happen in the workplace to elevate the entire group and move the company forward.
Very cool. And I will have all your information in the notes of this podcast so people will be able to find your website, be able to find you, and if they wanted to inquire to get more information. But if you are just wanting to dip your toe in this, you definitely have books available too on Amazon. So they can do a search for that as well. So, Karen, again, thank you so much for your time today. Like I said, you are a force in this space, and I appreciate everything that you were able to share as far as data and the fun part of that too. So we can all go out and not
And
only study hard, but have great adventures.
Catherine, thank you. Thank you for doing this, for reminding people that this is critical to who we are. And it's just been so much fun to watch your podcast. Thank you for having
Oh,
me
thank
here.
you so much. I appreciate
Yeah.
that coming from you. So,
Yeah.
I again, just thank you so much.
All right. All right. Keep improvising.